Understanding where your original soul essence is located is going to help you find it, because it's not out there. It's not something that's going to be added back. There is literally nothing to look for. It's not possible for it to separate from you. That would not make sense. Who are you really? I think this is one of the most fundamental driving questions for those of us who feel called to the spiritual path. And it begs to really contemplate this, right? Can we actually know who we are? Can we actually know who we are on a soul level? Can we actually know the soul? Is that possible for the human mind? Will you ever actually meet the invisible self? So hi, I'm Yanique Bell. I'm a certified trauma-informed intimacy coach and spiritual guide. And what that all means is that I am here to help you experience greater intimacy with the self, and also experience and access your deeper self, the invisible self. We usually start this journey because we are ultimately in the quest for love, and we get hooked on this journey because it's so mysterious. And there is this natural desire to learn more. Like, what did I just experience in meditation? Was that the thing? And if you haven't yet to have one of those experiences, stay here with me, hit like, subscribe, stick with us, and you surely will. But taking it on face value that there is a deeper self, an invisible self, that you do have an original soul essence, an essence of you that is unchanged by life's traumas, challenges, the programming, what you've been told to believe, right? There's just this essence of like bliss, and there's a playful and explorative part of you that is here, that's like waiting for you to witness it. If we take it on face value that there is a invisible self, like an other dimension to who you are right now that sometimes maybe you already sense, but you don't fully tap into just yet. If we are to believe that there is a soul essence, how do we get back to it? How do we actually get back to that self? Likely by now, to some degree, you have become a fractured self, meaning that due to the things that you've been through, the life experiences you've had, you've kind of learned to separate out what is acceptable and what isn't, right? The lovable versus the unlovable, the shameful self that you have to reject and push away, and the self that others will embrace and that is socially acceptable and will be liked if I present as this way, right? So you kind of become like a fractured version of yourself to fit into wherever you have been born. This process of fracturing, of disconnecting and dissociating, it starts early, right? It's not something we intentionally do, especially not at first. Perhaps later in adulthood, we might intentionally do it because we're just more conscious and we have that greater capacity within our nervous system to even acknowledge that we're doing it consciously. But if you don't have that awareness, likely you've never done this consciously. You didn't really choose to separate from these aspects of you. The separation wasn't a choice, it was a necessity. It's something that you needed to do in order to survive. But now your path has brought you to a place where you're curious about your original soul essence and you want to experience that. You want to feel whole again. You want to feel like you're being you, whatever that means. And so how does one go about doing that? And so one way that I often see being taught is that you do this through the mind. I think the biggest misconception that I see is that people often think that this is a journey that must be done through the mind or through some kind of intangible higher self. And that makes like logical sense, right? Like, okay, I want to get back to my original soul essence, so I should meditate on the self. And that feels logical, right? It like mentally feels like, okay, that kind of makes sense. Like I just need to like think more about my higher self and meditate more on what that self is. But this is coming from the vantage point that this is a self that is not yet actualized, that you're either trying to get back to, right? It's something that's lost that you have to kind of find your way back to, and somehow it's going to manifest as you heal or as you spiritually expand. It's just going to like be added back to your psyche. But understanding where your original soul essence is located is going to help you find it, because it's not out there. It's not something that's going to be added back. And I think the best analogy for this is actually if you wear glasses, or maybe you have sunglasses and you put them, you prop them up on top of your head and you're like searching everywhere and you're like, where are my sunglasses? Where are my glasses? Only for you to kind of reach up and like, oh my God, it's on my head. It's been on my head, or I've been wearing them the whole time. What am I searching for? And that is exactly the experience of realizing that your deeper self, your original soul essence, has been on your face, looking through your eyes the entire time. There is literally nothing to look for. When you stop searching for it, you will sense it. It's just kind of quietly always there. And that's why it's invisible. That's why it feels invisible, because it's outside of the mind. But it's something that you can really, once you learn how to identify it, and that's really the hardest part, is learning how to actually identify it and differentiate it from the ego mind. And once you do that, it's like every second of your life, of course. And that makes sense, right? If you really, really believe, maybe you have not felt it yet, that you have this original soul essence, this essence of you, then logically, this self must be present at all times. It's not possible for it to separate from you. That would not make sense. And this is where we need to differentiate this spiritual journey from parts work. Because in parts work, where you're reclaiming fractured, right, lost selves, right, shadow selves, you're doing shadow work, it often feels like you are repossessing, you are re-embodying something that's outside of yourself. And this is why I like to use the word deeper self instead of higher self, because it kind of separates out this process where we're not reaching for something outside of us, higher and above, but something deeper and within us that's always present. This perspective is also very tantric, and it's influenced by my experience as a student practitioner. Within Tantra, it's often said that you're not going up and out, as you often are in other religious practices, but you're going down and in. So the body becomes a gateway to the sacred. And that is by no means to bash parts work, because that actually is a fundamental part of the journey in starting to understand, okay, there's different aspects of me, and if I can reclaim an old self or a lost self, and I can choose which self to embody, then what is the self? What am I really? In this way, healing can naturally lead to a spiritual awakening. And it really doesn't matter what your entry point is. For me, initially, that was healing sexual shame and wanting to heal how I approached relationships. That led me to also doing codependency healing work and narcissistic abuse recovery work. But what I noticed is any of these vantage points will lead you to a question of what the heck is the self? And if I'm not my thoughts, if I'm not my ego, if I'm not my mind, what am I really? If all of this can be changed, then what is at the essence of this? What am I at the core of this? Like, obviously, none of this is really set in stone. All of this fades away with time or transforms with time. So what am I really? And the first step to actually experiencing that self, that deeper self, is to actually locate it correctly. The first step to identifying the invisible self is being able to locate it correctly. So I've created a meditation to help you locate and access the deeper self by using both the mind and the body and feeling it not as something outside of you, but within you. I teach many entry points to the deeper self, but this is one that I find commonly works for most people, regardless of if you have a strong meditation practice at the moment. You don't have to be a seasoned yogi in order to sense this part of you. Like I said, it is always present. This is not something that you reach once you've leveled up, right, in your spiritual practice. This isn't something that only the most evolved and high conscious beings can feel. In fact, day to day, you likely drop into this state of awareness without even realizing it, because it is always active, it's always present, it's always here. You're just not sensing it right now. You haven't learned how to locate it. It's kind of spooky. It's a little bit spooky when you first realize it. It is, it's kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. I mean, well, I guess I do. It's like searching for your glasses that were always on your face this entire time, or the keys that were always in your pocket. I think it's one of the many cosmic jokes of the universe. But I don't want you to spend your life searching for keys that are already in your pocket or glasses that are already on your face. I want you to learn how to access your deeper self, which is already present, already breathing through you. I mean, let that sink in. Something is breathing you right now. Right, Miss Lola? Something is breathing you right now. This is my cat friend. Where are we going? Oh my goodness. I thought she was going to climb my laptop, but she's found a home. You can purchase that guided meditation using the link below. And I'll also add, if you are really curious about this work and you want to go deeper into not just learning how to access your deeper self, but integrate it and also explore what it means for your healing journey, right? Like, what does it actually mean to get back to this and lost self, right? Which isn't really lost, or this lost soul essence. What does it actually mean for your healing journey? So I've got a program right now, O Rebirth. I'm still, I think at this time, I'm still accepting spots. I'm filming this ahead of time, but if you want to check out O Rebirth, along with that meditation, if you'd like to go deeper into this. And so once you've had that experience of unzipping out of your meat suit, crawling out of your skin, crawling out of your skin, once you've had that experience, then you'll probably want to learn what else that means, like what it means for your spiritual path moving forward. How do you actually integrate this and sustain this connection? And that is what private coaching is for. I do have a New Year's special that I think is still going on. I'm filming this ahead of time and I'm not sure exactly when I'll release this video, but if I've kept this part in, there are still spots open. O Rebirth, we're doing a 4-month deep healing intensive that is learning how to access your deeper self, but also use it to help you in your healing journey and allow for a rebirth. And if you are also wondering what do I mean by that, and if that's a good fit for you, then go ahead and check out this video on the 4 stages of your rebirth, where your spiritual path is leading you to. If you feel like you're on the cusp of something, maybe you had an initial soul awakening and you felt this part of you before, but you don't actually, at the time, you didn't actually know how to integrate it, how to rest in it, and maybe you weren't ready, right? You weren't ready to take that step. and there was still a lot that you were uncovering, fears that you were processing, but now life has brought you to a stage in your healing and awakening journey where it now feels like inevitable, like you have no choice but to allow for this rebirth. Allow yourself to go there. Then go ahead and check out this video, and I will see you in the next one. I hope you hit like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments if this shifted something for you, if this was helpful reframe, if you were under the impression that this was a self that was outside of you, right? Or a level in your spiritual journey that you had to reach. Does it help to realize that actually it's something that's already present and that I'm probably unconsciously tuning into without realizing? And wouldn't it be nice to start realizing and recognizing it? Because it's not something that you have to become worthy of. We all have access to it, and it's, although a little spooky, it's way more accessible than people make it out to be. Yeah, and maybe that's the spiritual ego of it all, right? Right, Miss Lola. Some people want to be gurus, but we are all our own teachers. All right, I'll see you in the next video.